Okay, now, next on the program is unique to this year. This is our 12th year doing this. It's the first year that we've had someone step up and become a full dinner sponsor for this event. So it's my pleasure to introduce him to you at this time. His name is Dragos Sprinceana. His company is Gold Coast Logistics. Dragos immigrated from Romania to the United States in 2002 after obtaining his bachelor's degree in economics. Here in America, he started out working in construction and then serving tables and bartending before moving into real estate and lending. Dragos became a United States citizen in 2006. Yeah, you can applaud for that. After the 2008 crash, he went to work for Citigroup. 3 years later, he opened his transport company, Gold Coast Logistics, in 2011. 1 year later, he left Citigroup to focus his attention entirely on his new company. Today, Gold Coast Logistics is now nationally recognized as a leading provider of direct and third-party logistics services encompassing all aspects of transportation nationally and internationally. Dragos is married to the love of his life, Gabriella, and they are blessed with an adorable 3-year-old daughter, Sienna. His is a compelling, inspirational American story. So please join me in welcoming the sponsor of our 12th annual Republican Liberty Caucus Constitution Day dinner, Mr. Dragos Sprinceana.
How do I raise that mic?
Oh, good question. You might have to hold it up.
Like, well, that was some introduction. Thank you, Bob. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be your Constitution Day dinner sponsor and one of the speakers of this evening. I am pleased that I have the opportunity to discuss my American dream journey. I want to slowly walk you through some of my life experiences, my past, my present, and maybe a glimpse of my possible future. I think we're in mutual agreement that in our lives, God never comes too late. Whenever you think you reached rock bottom, whenever you think it can be worse than this, it's like something happens and we make it through. It's like we have an invisible guardian angel that watches over us. It doesn't matter if you're religious or only spiritual, or you don't believe in anything. I bet most of us had moments in life when we had a no-way-out situation, and something happened in the last moment, and we end up making it. The great architect of the universe, God, has a plan for all of us. If for most, nothing is ordinary in life and everything happens for a reason, let's all unite our efforts and help each other help others and make things not just simply ordinary for each and every one. Help me help you, and indirectly, we help everyone else around us. Walk on a path that brings nothing but the best in all, and nothing but positivity, happiness, and prosperity can come out of it. The world we live in today, it's a little scary. Especially now when we're dealing with some delusional and radical liberals. I have to say that. I see how most people follow rules. I see how few people use those rules to make other rules, not necessarily respecting any rules. And by that, I mean that not all rules are made for everyone. Intriguing. In order to control yourself and be strong, it's always good to follow a path that makes you look for the answer of your life's most important question. Who are you? I can only answer, who am I now? Who will I be remains to be determined. My name is Dragos Sprinceana, and I am 41 years old, happily married with the love of my life, Gabriella, with whom I was blessed to have a smart 3-year-old beautiful little girl, Sienna. I emigrated in the United States almost 20 years ago, and at that point, my journey started on a path that led me living the American dream today. Even though I am blessed to live in the best country on this planet, the United States of America, a country that offered me freedom and equal opportunity for all, a country that helped me build a successful company with about $100 million in yearly gross revenue and close to 500 employees today, many of you don't know how my childhood was growing up in my native country, Romania, under a socialist and a communist dictator, Nicolae Ceausescu. I remember like it was yesterday, how my parents would wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and one of them would go in front of the only grocery store in the neighborhood and leave their bag with glass bottles for milk, yogurt, and sour cream, just so they can keep their place in line. Everybody knew everybody in the neighborhood. At about 7:30 a.m., one of them would go back and stay in line until the store would open at 8 a.m., just so their only child can have the necessary proteins for the week. Not all cars were allowed to drive every day. In some days, only cars that had an even number on the license plates were allowed to be driven. And in other days, only license plates with odd numbers were allowed to drive. Gas for cars was rationalized. Same thing applied for bread and other products. At the time, I didn't know better, and that was the normal life for me. I remember how tropical fruits like oranges or bananas were available only 2-3 times a year. I also remember how I was staying in line myself for 2-3 hours, and we were allowed to buy only 3 oranges at a time or maximum 5 bananas. And if you wanted to buy more, you had to stay again in line and hope that there was some left until you got your turn again. Yes, it did happen to me once, and I ended up staying in line twice. I wanted to impress a girl with 3 extra oranges. My wife is my best friend, and at the first time I told her the story, she started laughing so much because she doesn't remember those times. She was very young. What can I say? I was blessed enough to have a doctor's prescription and marry somebody a little younger than myself. Now, the tables have turned. In order to impress my wife today, which deserves nothing but the best, I had to work hard, build a huge company, and become a national oranges importer and transporter. If her oranges are not delivered on time, I'm in big trouble. I think a lot of men tonight know what I'm talking about. Leaving jokes aside, my childhood was not pretty. I thank God that I was fortunate to have the parents I do, and that they raised me the way they did. At the time, I never dreamed I would end up living for the rest of my life in the United States. But as I said before, in God's work, we all have a place and a role to play. Romania's population fought in the 1989 revolution in order to enjoy the democracy they have today. We have to take this very serious and make sure we're doing everything in our power to stop radical liberals implement socialism and destroy the foundations of this country. We need to protect at all costs the United States Constitution, the supreme law that governs us all. Things have not always been easy, but with hard work and dedication, my present and my future look great with Donald J. Trump as our president. That's why we need to re-elect President Donald J. Trump, and I am disgusted and appalled by the fact that some of us embrace a candidate like Joe Biden that supports radical socialists. I mean, what is wrong with these people? Many of us fought hard our way out of socialism and communism, while many people lost their lives in the process. Arriving in America, my first job was a lifeguard. I was so excited, oh my God, I even imagined myself in a Baywatch scenario, I swear to God. To my disappointment, that job was at a resort in Wisconsin Dells, at a kiddie pool. So, no Baywatch for me. After that, my life's journey took me in construction, serving tables, and bartending while I was going to school again for my second degree. Before I wasn't busy enough with school and a job during the week, I got my real estate license and I was doing open houses in the weekends also. And guess what? I found some extra time to study for a loan officer license too. And at this point, I started my career in lending and I ended up quitting all the rest. I worked for a couple of nationally recognized companies, including Citigroup. I always felt like I can do so much more. I kept thinking, how can I invent a very cheap product and sell it to millions of people? In the end, I was wrong. It was easier to find a service that I can provide to millions of people. And that is why I started my company back in 2011, doing transportation. It was extremely hard, and I went again to school to study for it. I bought my first 2 cargo Mercedes-Benz Sprinters, and in 2012, I bought my first 3 semi-trucks. Fast forwarding today, in 2020, after a trade war with China and a global pandemic, we are at close of 400 semi-trucks, 3 terminals in Illinois, Florida, and Arizona. Did I mention that I don't know how to drive a semi? I always said that I'm gonna find some free time to learn. The same thing happened with me learning how to sail, and now I promised myself I'll learn how to fly. We'll see about that. I never have the time. Because my company is run by a COO and a CFO, and I have some free time on my hand, I decided to get involved, do my part, and help as much as I can the Republican Party and its congressional and state candidates in my area. Besides helping the local candidates, I had the pleasure of hosting a fundraiser event at my house for one of my favorite congressmen, Matt Gaetz. And I had the honor to participate last week at a small private luncheon event with Governor Ron DeSantis, Don Jr. Trump, and Kimberly Guilfoyle. As conservatives, we have to come together and support as much as we can our only voices in Washington, our elected Republican House of Representatives and our elected senators, and help many other potential candidates flip more seats so we can finally regain control of the House, Senate, and presidency at the same time. Maybe one day I'll run for Congress. You never know. But tonight, I have the pleasure to spend this beautiful evening with all of you, and I'm humbled and honored to share my life story with people that even if I don't know, I will be happy to call friends. All pictures for tonight's event can be found on Florida Republicans group on Facebook. And if you're not a member, please join. In the end, I would like to quote one of my favorite US presidents in history, President Donald J. Trump, a quote that encompasses the definition of the American dream of this great, unique, and beautiful country. America is the place where anything can happen. America is the place where anyone can rise. And here, on this land, on this soil, on this continent, the most incredible dreams come true for each and every one of us. Thank you all for listening, and I wish you a beautiful rest of the night.
stand them.